Welcome into the latest. Do I call it edition or episode? Does it matter?
No.
I like to be consistent.
Just be better.
I wasn't the one doing a live show without going live yesterday. All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome into the latest edition of our Cubs REKAP Podcast, a presentation of our REKAP YouTube channel, and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcast with my partner, Gordon Wittenmeyer. I'm David Kaplan. It's all brought to you by our great partners at the Illinois Tollway and their If Only campaign. Folks, quick timeout to talk about something serious. We've all said it before. If only I had slowed down. The Illinois Tollway's campaign is called If Only, and it's a powerful reminder. Speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. Every crash needs someone wishing they'd done things differently. So take the extra time, slow down, save lives. Lives, including yours, depend on it. All right, Gordon, I want to read you a stat that is the REKAP Rush Hour stat of the day today. In 1968, Bob Gibson started 34 times. He completed 28 of his 34 starts. He was pinch hit for only 6 times, and not one time during the season was he ever taken off the mound. He ended the season with the best ERA by a starter ever, 1.12. 1.12. So the Chicago National League Ball Club is mired in a little bit of difficulty with their pitching right now. They are 3.5 clear of the Brewers and the Cardinals in the NL Central. The Reds are in 4th, and then the Pirates are way up the track. But yet, I don't feel comfortable. I'm not saying I'm in panic mode. Ryan McGuffey's question today was on the lunch hours, can you be in first place and be in panic mode? When you hear, like, complete games, the game has totally changed. What is your take? Can you be in panic mode 3.5 clear in the division?
What's that have to do with Bob Gibson?
Because I wanted you to hear about the pitching and the way how different it is. The Cubs starting pitching, we're not getting great depth out of our starters. Like, the game is totally different. And Ben Brown last night was horrible.
The mound was 50% higher, too.
That's true. They lowered it after that season.
That's right. Can you be in first place and be panicking? Sure.
Yeah.
And I wish off the top of my head I could remember some examples, but you've had close races in the past or teams that have been in first place and they know they're in trouble because they've got some pitching injuries. If the Braves were in first place instead of being a crap team like they've been, total biggest underachiever of the year all year, if they had been in first place, that injury to Chris Sale would make you panic in a division that's that strong at the top. Same with Arizona out west with the latest injury to Corbin Carroll on the heels of the Corbin Burns injury. So you certainly could. Should the Cubs? Should you? Well, you, Cap, you're capable of panicking, over a goddamn hangnail. But I think if you're,
I'm the most positive dude you know.
Yeah, until one game goes bad. I heard you on the radio after those 4 home runs by Ben Brown that he gave up. Yeah, so.
Yeah, because our manager needed a freaking alarm clock to wake his ass up in the dugout.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. But you aside, if you're a Cubs fan, you shouldn't be panicking because they're in the best division they could be in to go through something like this right now. And they're as balanced as anybody else in that division. They have as many weapons as anybody else right now to get it done. We also know they have the resources like nobody else in the division and the will like even the Cardinals don't have, for instance, to do something about it at the trade deadline. So I don't think there's any place for panic if you're the Cubs or a Cubs fan. However, I wouldn't be sitting there comfortable right now either.
So I spoke with Jed last week, and I asked him, it was on our morning show, Cap and J Hood on ESPN 1000, and the question was, if you have a deal that you can make and you go to Tom and you tell him, Tom, this is the deal we need to make, and we have an opportunity to acquire, whether it's a number one starter, a third baseman, a top-end reliever, whatever it is. But that player has multi-years left, more than a rental, and it's significant money. But you tell Tom, if we get this guy, we have every chance to make a run. You can't guarantee anything. Quote, I have no concern that I'll have whatever resources I need to do whatever I need to do. Do you believe that?
Not as an absolute. No, I believe it in the context of the way they say it every effing year. They're in position to think about being buyers, and they don't always act that way. So I believe within the context, yeah, it's true. I don't think he's worried about it. I think he's seen the landscape out there. I think he knows what's reasonably available. And within that pool, I think he thinks he can probably handle taking on the salary that might be required within that pool. I mean, I don't think we're talking about, the kind of commitment that a Juan Soto contract would be. It's not going to be a big lift for the Cubs, in the pool of what's available. So
yeah, I believe Alcantara has this year, and he has another year, and then I believe he's a free agent. And
I think I'm doing this by memory, but I think it's something like 17 a year.
I'm looking Sandy up right now.
For a healthy starting pitcher who's got a track record that includes a Cy Young award, that's a bargain. And then that's well under market value if he's performing at all the way he has in his career. Now,
so Sandy Alcantara is currently being paid $17.3 million. He has one more year left at $17.3 million and a club option at $21 million. That's a great contract.
Well, so it should not even be a conversation. That shouldn't be a matter of resources if you're the Cubs. Of course you would do that. Imagine being able to get a healthy Sandy Alcantara who's performing well and on a 3-year contract for less than $60 million. You'd do it in a heartbeat.
He'd be making basically Jameson Tyone's contract.
Yeah, and it's a guy that's won a Cy Young award, and presumably is going to get back to that because he does have his velocity and he still has his changeup, and if he has his health, there's no reason to think he won't get back to that.
So Ben Brown had a rough outing on Monday night in St. Louis. They're in the fourth. He's pitching well, and bing, bang, boom. 2-run homer, 2-0. Top 5, Cubs get a run back, load the bases with 1 out. Ian Happ, unfortunately, grounds into a double play. Next Cardinal at bat, they get 2 2-run home runs. Now it's 6-1. As I'm going through watching this game, and I went back through and said, did my eyes deceive me? I look at the game log. I'm thinking, okay, after it's 4-1, and then he walks a guy, how in the F do you not go get somebody up? I've seen this movie before. They don't. They don't have anybody ready to go. He hits another home run off him. It's 6-1. He lets him go back out the next inning, give up a hit, and another home run. It's 8-1. Thanks for coming. Have a good night. I thought Craig Counsell had a really bad night. Not as bad as Ben Brown, but he had a bad night. You agree?
Yeah, the only issue with that is when you get the quick strike, when your struggles are these quick strikes, it looks a lot worse than it might actually be. I tend to trust the baseball people evaluating the guy in the moment a little better than you or me. But I trust that, he still had his stuff. He walked the guy ahead of the home run. That's more of a concern necessarily than the home run itself. But I'm sure they saw effectiveness within that within that framework. And the other thing is, I don't think you look at it and say, well, damn, the top of the order for the Yankees is up, or the top of the order for the Dodgers is up. We got to get this guy out of there. So there's a couple spots in that Cardinals lineup that, kind of make you take notice, but not very many. And not even like in recent years. They got a few guys, but I can see it. I can see
Brendan Donovan, Newt Barr.
Well, but Burleson is he's a little bit scary, and Arenado is still pretty much Arenado, especially against a young guy. And Donovan's good, but and even them are, they're not even back to back. They're spaced out in the lineup. So yeah, I don't criticize him quite as harshly as you do on that. And I've seen that play out. I mean, he's not the only manager that's managed a particular starter that way. And you can't be quick on the trigger all the time, because you're going to just kill your bullpen. You brought it up at the top of the podcast, that it's a different game with pitchers, and guys aren't doing the things that Bob Gibson.
Right, Bob Gibson and Fergie Jenkins, those guys don't exist now.
Well, that game, it doesn't exist anymore. Some of these guys have harder stuff and nastier, harder breaking pitches. So you throw that stuff and you can't do it for 9 innings. Your body or your arm's not capable. It's a whole different way to manage pitchers and pitching. And so, yeah, to answer your point, did he have a bad? I'm not gonna sit here from the cheap seats and say, well, what a shit job Craig Counsell did managing that pitcher. That between him and his pitching coach, and Tommy Hotaby's pretty good, they know their guys. So you've also seen, I mean, Mark Burley was one of the best of these, but you've seen guys struggle and then come back and settle down, give up a big inning, come back and settle down. So
no, not Ben Brown, Gordon. Sorry, I got to push back on you. I mean, okay, 2-run homer. All right. Another 2-run homer and then a walk. It's 4-1. I'm in a big series here.
Guess what? I'm not saying that in a vacuum, Cap. It's all.
Your ass is in the freaking shower. Sorry.
Well, I hope when you're a manager, you have about a 16-man bullpen.
Gordon, I'll get the most out of my guys, buddy. Let me just tell you that right now.
Hey, the best news for you is you got Imanaga coming back.
Yes, that is good. And I think the Cubs.
Ben Brown all by itself.
Our friend Bruce Levine said that he's hearing the Cubs could make a trade in the next 7 to 10 days. And most people are speculating that would be for either Edward Cabrera or Sandy Alcantara, more likely Sandy Alcantara from the Miami Marlins. Will that happen? Remains to be seen. So I went back and went through his game log. He had a horrible month of May and a horrible month of April, where he pitched to an ERA in April of 9.28 and an ERA in May of 8.64. And now in 4 starts in the month of June, he is pitching to an ERA of 2.74. Okay, we could say, well, you faced Colorado on the 3rd, and he went 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs there earned, walked just 1 man. He had control problems before that. And then he faced Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Okay, it's Pittsburgh. Well, then he faced Philadelphia, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs there earned, and he punched out 5. Okay. Then he faced Atlanta last Sunday, 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs there earned, 4 Ks, got 10 ground balls through 95 pitches. And I'm looking going, he seems like he has maybe figured things out, as he's now a little more than a year out of Tommy John. He had Tommy John during 23, missed a lot of time, and is now back and is pitching and looks to be much healthier. So if you had to pull the trigger on a trade right now and you were going to give up a significant prospect package that might hamstring you from doing something else, would you do it for that guy?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would, because Chris Sale's off the board. We know he's got a broken rib, 2 fractures in there, I think.
Yeah, that guy's
so,
a beast. He pitched, got the last batter with the broken rib cage.
Yeah, how about that? So, yeah, it's a dice roll, but the one thing that you feel confident about with Sandy Alcantara at this point is he's healthy. You've seen enough to know that he's healthy. You've seen enough to see his velocity and how his breaking pitches are how hitters are responding to his breaking pitches and how he's able to command them. So what you're probably looking at is you're saying, look, he's incrementally getting better as he shakes the rust off and pitches more since the surgery. So I'm going to I tell you, the guy that they probably got in the back of their mind, Walker Buehler, who came back with the Dodgers, last year?
Yeah.
And didn't look good at all initially, but he was a huge key to their postseason as they went on to win the World Series. And I'm not saying that this is about Alcantara being, taking until September to get any good. I'm saying that you get this guy because you can. And it's possible that it doesn't cost you as much as if he had been pitching better, or if he starts to get pitch better, and you can jump the market a little bit before too many teams get involved in a big way. You get him. We already talked about the cost being a value, an under market value. So if you trust this guy's health, all you got to know is who he is, and what you got your eyes set on are, look, I got enough to win the division now. This gives me a chance to win the division going away down the stretch and to have weapons in the postseason to match up against a very tough National League field.
In terms of looking at this team, and I believe Alcantara's next start is going to be at Arizona on Friday night, is what I'm hearing. Marlins are at the Diamondbacks this weekend. That will be a very good test. If you were Jed, do you pull the trigger after that start? Do you try to get him in the next few days? Hey, I want you making that start for me. Or would you want to see one more start from all your years in baseball?
I think if you're going to do this, if Bruce is right on the timeline, the 7 to 10 day timeline, sooner rather than later, and by the end of the month, by the All-Star break type thing, then I've seen enough. If that's where they sit on this, then it's about getting the deal you want. It's not about whether I get him before or after the Friday start. So I've seen enough to know what I'm trading for at this point. I'm not sure what one more start in Arizona is going to tell me.
Yeah, because if he gets lit up, you're going to try and justify in your mind, well, it was just a bad night. And if he throws a great game, you're like, oh, I wish I would have pulled the trigger earlier and had that game for me, right?
Well, right, and the price isn't going to go down, right? If all of a sudden you have more reservations after a poor outing, and the price isn't going to go down, because if you don't meet their price, they're just going to say, well, screw you, we'll wait until the end of July then.
So Alex Cora was asked, I'm going to read you the quotes. This is from, Tim Healy, right?
Yeah.
Tim Healy is a good baseball writer for the Boston Globe. Walker Buehler got lit up by the Angels, and Alex Cora got ejected. Tim Healy says to Alex Cora, are you sure Walker Buehler is healthy? 100%, Alex Cora said. Alex, is he pitching through anything? I don't want to talk about that. Buehler said when they asked Buehler. So that tells you, he might have something going on, and he's trying to gut his way through it. That was why I would have some pause about putting that guy out there in a big trade. Again,
if you think he's healthy, and the indications are that he is, right? You've had your scouts all over him probably most of the year, given where you knew your pitching was from the outset. So that's always going to be there, Cap. Actually, it's always going to be there with guys that don't have injury histories. So that's a risk that you take. And if you're the Cubs, the money it shouldn't be the issue. For one thing, it's this year and next year plus a club option. So the most you're on the hook for is the option price in another year. So
Correct.
You can handle that if you're, and you've got guys falling off the books anyway. You could totally handle that, even if you wanted to manipulate and drop payroll and the whole thing. You could handle that. So if the price is right for what you think you have an opportunity to get here, I think you go get it. And again, when you keep talking about what your reservations might be, or you're comparing them to this guy that might be pitching through something. The other side of it is the upside of it. There might not be another guy out there who has the upside that this guy does in the second half.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a great point that you make. Look, with Chris Sale going down, the Rangers have shown no inclination that they're dealing either Eovaldi or Jacob deGrom. And to ask management, can I take on $95 million? That's a big ask compared to, can I take on the 17 next year and the 21 the year after?
Or the 17 and the buyout.
Correct.
Because that's really what you're on the hook for. If you're picking up the option, you're getting value.
Yeah, because he's obviously pitching well then.
Yeah. So
100%.
I don't think it's as high risk as you make it out to be, given where this team is, given what the upside is, and given who the Chicago friggin' Cubs are.
Completely agree with you. Last night, the Cubs offense was awful. Not good. They lose 8-2. That can happen. Matthew Liberatore is a very, very good pitcher. But what really ticked me off, I sat down to watch the game after cooking a delicious dinner of lemon chicken. My own recipe, I might add. I didn't go get this from anybody. Yeah, fresh squeezed lemons, lemon olive oil.
Or do you go pasta, or you go pasta with that, or just veggies, or what?
No. We're very low carb in my home. We went with broccoli. Broccoli with a little sea salt, a little crushed black pepper, and a little bit of chili infused olive oil that has quite a kick to it. I like heat, so does my wife. And then the chicken is lemon chicken with fresh squeezed lemons and then lemon infused olive oil. I bake it at 425 for about 25 minutes. I turn it halfway through. It's an amazingly delicious meal. I make this meal, and now the game's going to start. And I look as I'm putting my same game parlay together, and I about want to regurgitate. Dansby effing Swanson is hitting in the cleanup spot. Like, Craig had a really bad day all day. Like, I don't know if somebody did something in his coffee or in his Wheaties or what. Dansby Swanson in the cleanup spot? That was disgusting.
Cap, you know, one of my biggest peeves as a writer and listening to other members of the media either take on management or ask questions of managers is the effing lineup. There used to be, when we were growing up, there was a way to do it, right? Your best hitter batted third, and your guy that drove in runs that had some power was batting fourth, your speedy guy that is batting first, your contact guy batting second. Well, they've come up with some more analysis since then, and now maybe your best hitter's your number two guy, and so on and so forth. But they also balance the lineup left and right. And I guarantee you, first of all, that lineup doesn't belong to Craig Counsell, certainly not entirely. And so you can jump the shit of the whole organization if you want to for Dansby Swanson hitting cleanup. But I'm sure they had some kind of analysis behind it, every bit as valuable as your analysis. Now, if they had won that game, you wouldn't have said anything about it.
Oh, no, because I was mad before.
All right.
I first guessed, Gordon.
All right, if they'd have lost 8-7 and he'd have produced because the matchups were the right matchups, you'd have at least said, oh, maybe there was something to that. But it didn't work. So now you got what we call it, recency bias, and so it didn't work. And you're pissed. Well, yeah. I'm sure they had reasons behind it, and there's bigger fish to fry here, pal.
Yeah, I did not like what I saw. I did not. It really irritated me that you would put this impotent bat in the cleanup spot when I've got a guy named Pete Crow Armstrong, who, by the way, only helped himself in the MVP race yesterday. He may not catch Shohei Ohtani. 2 doubles and a wall-rattling catch. I'd like to have had those 2 doubles in the cleanup spot. I mean, Dansby Swanson, come on, man.
It doesn't mean it's going to happen.
He needs to be like hitting 7th or 8th.
Just because you put a different guy there and he comes up in this inning instead of that inning doesn't mean the results that he had in the other spot in the order is going to replicate.
Gordon, the object of the game, let me teach you something about baseball. The object of the game is to get your best effing hitters to the plate as many times as I can. That's why they have Kyle Tucker hitting 2 and Suzuki hitting 3 and not putting Dansby effing Swanson in the cleanup spot.
Look, I'm not defending Dansby's bat. He's been hot at times. He was hot for quite a while. But I've never been really sold on him as an offensive juggernaut or all-star or anything like that. He makes his bones on in the field. But I'm trying to look up something here, and I can't.
While you do, Gordon Counsell is my partner here on the podcast today. Craig's brother. Our podcast is brought to you by the Illinois Tollway's If Only campaign. Folks, we love sparring and we love having you on here and reading all of your great comments. But this is something serious. We've all said it before. If only I had slowed down. The Illinois Tollway's new campaign is called If Only. And it's a powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. Every crash leaves someone wishing they'd done things differently. So take the extra time, slow down, save lives, lives including yours. Depend on it. That's the Illinois Tollway's If Only campaign. All right, what were you looking up there, Sparky?
Yeah,
I hope you use a better computer than the one that put the Cubs lineup together yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, look, at first blush, I would have had the lineup that you suggested. I'm sure. I mean, did anybody ask him about it? I can't find my damn. I'm trying to find the matchups. I'm trying to find the pitching matchups, and I can't.
Well, I looked at it yesterday. Dansby Swanson against Liberatore is 1 for 7 lifetime.
Yeah.
So, and we're facing McGreevy tonight, and I think Carson Kelly's the only guy that ever faced him. He doesn't have a hit against him, I think, in 2 at-bats. No one else has faced him. Against Jamison Tyone, that's a little more disconcerting because Arenado's a 440 hitter against him in 25 ABs. Burleson's a 400 hitter in 15 ABs. Brendan Donovan's a 421 hitter in 19 ABs. Pedro Pajes is a 400 hitter in limited at-bats, 5. So Wynn and Wilson Contreras are the 2 that struggle with Tyone. He's had a good year, 7-4 with a 384, 67 Ks. He was not good his last time out. Prior to that, 9 out of his last 10 were quality starts. The last start, not good. He has to pitch like an ace for you tonight. You need to win tonight.
Yeah, because that's – I mean, it goes without saying that's your chance to win the series. But are you surprised the Cardinals are this good? I mean, you rattle that stuff off, and I just saw the Cardinals over the weekend. I was surprised, I was surprised at just how well they played. I knew their wins and losses. I knew from a win-loss standpoint they were playing well this year, but just watching them play the game. And I knew defensively they were good, but they pitched better than I thought. And they've really got a nice lineup. It's not as good as some, but it's pretty good. I don't know. It's just it strikes me as they were the team I would have least thought would do something like they're doing now. I mean,
I did not think they would be this good. I did not.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, Tyone needs to step it up and maybe maybe work against the grain of some of those numbers. But even if they hit him hard, you got the big boost coming with Imanaga behind him, and this isn't going to bury you. Let me bring a stat up to you, Cap. You opened up with a big stat. There was a year that the Cubs were rolling, and at one point they were 20-something games over 500 in June. And then in this exact stretch, like from June 20th to the 23rd, they lost. Well, that's not right. They lost 4 straight, and then 6 of 7, and that carried over into losing 15 out of 20.
Yeah, that was the 2016 Cubs.
It's exactly what it was. And they wound up going 51-23 the rest of the way. They added Aroldis Chapman right in that same time frame. One thing that corresponded with that little dip was a hamstring injury to Dexter Fowler, but they got right back on track. Every team that has success has a stretch, and that team had that stretch. And they now the difference this time around, that was a different team than this one. That was a different National League than this one, and even the division. They were up. They got done with that crappy 15-20 stretch, and they were still up by 6.5 games. You don't have quite the margin this time around, but it's a good team. They're in terrific position to not make any changes and still have a chance, barring any other big injuries, to win this division. But if they make a trade, they can make big noise too. And in this moment right now, it is not, back to your other question, a reason for anybody to panic.
Well, before I let you go, only 3 teams have more wins in Major League Baseball as we record this on Tuesday afternoon before Game 2 of the Cubs series at St. Louis. The Dodgers are 48-31. The Cubs are 46-32. The Phillies are 47-31. Mets actually are half game behind the Cubs, but they do have the same number of victories. And then the Tigers have 49. That's it. So you're in good position. Got to find a way to win a baseball game tonight, Gordon.
If they win tonight, then you might have a reason to feel like they're kind of back on that upswing, because then you got Imanaga coming back to try to win a series.
All right, Gordon, have a great rest of your day, man.
You too, Cap.
All right, appreciate you. There he is. That's my partner, the great Gordon Wittenmeyer, and he and I are together anytime there's breaking news, as well as every week we talk Chicago Cubs baseball. This was taped on Tuesday in advance of Game 2 of the Cubs and the Cardinals, a 4-game series at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Again, the Illinois Tollways If Only campaign wants you to please slow down. It's their new campaign. It's a powerful reminder. Speeding does not just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. Lives, including yours, depend on it. Please slow down and save lives. For Gordon, I'm Cap. Go Cubs, baby! Take that.